Good evening. I've been asked to present Lieutenant Colonel Todd Johnson for the Distinguished Alumni Award, and I'm very flattered to have been done so. I'm also very pleased to note that Colonel James Sarnick is with us tonight and is also being recognized. I'm pleased about this because this year, 2019, marks the 100th anniversary of the creation of the Ripon College ROTC unit. That unit has been one of the college's most successful programs, as well as one of its oldest. It was the second unit founded in Wisconsin and has been successful here almost from the very start. By the early 20s, inspectors coming here were already telling Washington about what a great unit we had. Since then, on a per capita basis, Ripon College has graduated more generals than any other school in the country outside of West Point. Unfortunately, due to budget constraints, after 1992, our unit was incorporated into the Fox Valley Battalion, but that battalion, considered continuing our tradition, has consistently been recognized as one of the best in the state of Wisconsin. So the fact that we are celebrating tonight the highly successful careers of Colonel Sarnick and Lieutenant Colonel Johnson, I think is indicative of the fact that our unit continues to provide some of the best Army officers there are, and is a unit that we ought to be very proud of. Turning to Todd, I'm not going to go through all his awards. I just want to make a couple of points or observations about them. One is that Todd has proven to be an outstanding military leader. He showed signs of this even when he was at Ripon, having been president of both his fraternity and later president of the Student Senate. However, when we turn to his military career, in the military, the overall goal of almost any officer, particularly those in the combat branches, is to finish his career as a battalion commander. But few make it. Todd did. And he did because all the way up, he demonstrated exemplary leadership ability. Soon after he took over his platoon in Korea, it was recognized as the Distinguished Honor Platoon. And 2 years after he took over his company in Alaska, it received the Draper Award as the best light cavalry company in the entire American Army. So throughout his career, Todd has demonstrated superior leadership abilities, the abilities that we first saw here at Ripon. The other aspect of his career that I think deserves note is his record in professional publication. Publishing in the Army is an extracurricular activity, and not too many officers engage in it. This part of his career, too, also began at Ripon. In 1992, a group of students decided to write the history of the Ripon ROTC unit. That history was published here, and Todd was one of its authors. After going into the Army, he continued his publishing career. He sent me his very first piece long ago. I remember it only vaguely, but as I recall, it was something about a piece of equipment that was attached to some sort of vehicle and made the vehicle better. Since then, however, his published works have become broader in scope and more thoughtful. And they've been published in increasingly more prestigious journals, finally ending up in the Royal United Services Institute Journal, which is the top of the professional journal list. And it seems to me that the scholar soldier, the one who can lead, who can communicate, and who consider their profession from ever broader perspectives, this is what we'd hope to see in any Army officer graduated from a liberal arts college, and especially from Ripon College. Finally, I'd like to say that in terms of his military career, Todd Johnson was not a single person. He was a member of a team. The other member of the team was his wife, Amy. So I'd like to say a couple of words about Amy. First, you may note in the program that Todd Johnson won the Alumni Association Award as the outstanding senior when he graduated. So did Amy. As you can see, they were a well-matched pair. What is important, however, is that Amy was a military spouse. The life of a military spouse is a lot more challenging than that of a civilian spouse. There is, of course, and most important, the prolonged absence of the service person in overseas deployments, in which the remaining spouse has to be the single parent. But there are also the many moves that have to be made and settling into communities after the moves. Military communities are tight-knit, but also highly transient, so that a person moving in has to immediately work to fit in and become part of that community. This means that quite often a military spouse doesn't have the opportunity for interesting outside employment. Amy succeeded in all this and had an interesting outside career, so that in this respect, the Johnsons were as successful as a family as they were in the military career. And what is, I think, important in all of this, and what Amy represents, is the fact that when we thank military service people for their service, we should remember that the military spouse was in many respects the one responsible for ensuring that there would be such service. So, thank you, and I'd like now to President Wingenbach, I'd like to present Lieutenant Todd Johnson for a Distinguished Alumni Award.
Dr. Woolley, thank you very much for that kind introduction. I am so genuinely humbled by your words and so grateful that I had the privilege to be a student in many of your classes. They were intellectually challenging, but they were also very fun. It was an incredible learning environment. I unfortunately wish I could say the same thing about my time in that statistics class. Hashtag unmitigated disaster. It is truly an honor for me to join the ranks of the 260 plus alums who have received this prestigious honor before and to share it tonight with family and friends. As I thought about what I was going to say tonight, I found myself going back to 1990, my freshman year, and images of Domino's message boards on the doors, the meat sheet, hall phones, grunge and rap music permeating the airwaves of WRPN, no internet, and of course my freshman floor at Scott Hall. I was lucky enough to receive a 4-year ROTC scholarship, and I still remember my mom's words as she and my dad left my room after they helped me move in. With tears in her eyes, she said, "I love you. Now don't screw this up." I love my mom. My floor was a unique community comprised of every type of personality that you can think of. We had intellectuals, stellar athletes, first-generation students, legacy students, rich, poor, gay, straight, you name it, we had it on our floor. We were so different, but we functioned so well as a collective group. Now, things weren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Remember, we were 18 years old. But we had an incredible resident assistant by the name of Trent Hancock, who made sure that things didn't get out of hand too much. I bring this experience up because it really served as such a positive foundation for my time here at Ripon. Over the next 4 years, I met people who have become lifelong friends. I learned how to experience some failure in your life, but I also had some great successes. Most importantly, I met the woman who's been my wife for 22 years, 250 days, and a few hours. Thank you, Amy, for being my best friend and a phenomenal mom to Emma and Audrey. This award is as much yours as it is mine. Thank you for everything. Looking back in retrospect, I can't emphasize enough the importance of the liberal arts education I received and how pivotal it has been in my life and for all of us who are graduates of this esteemed institution. We live in a republic, and the only way it survives is if its citizens, that's you and I and everyone else, have a firm grasp of how to think and solve unique problem sets that rapidly change over time. Our country is only as successful as our ability to communicate with one another, understand our history, and appreciate the influences that create our unique, dynamic culture. And you know what? A liberal arts education provides all of that, and so much more. Just take a look at the word liberal. The word comes from the Latin word libertas, which means liberty. And libertas comes from the Latin adjective libera, which means free. Therefore, our liberal education has given us the tools to take advantage of the personal freedom or liberty we enjoy in the United States. It has given us a basic skill set so that we can enjoy the status of a free person in a republic while pursuing our dreams. As Bill Stout liked to say, remember, we receive ABs, not BAs. Which brings us to today. I am so grateful to be a member of the Ripon College family. The education I received here, when combined with my life's experiences, has enabled me to pursue my dreams of serving my country in uniform and now being a member of the National Park Service, where I get the privilege of protecting our nation's natural resources. I am so lucky, and all I can say to everybody here tonight is, thank you, Ripon College, for this incredible honor. It is something I will never forget. Thank you very much.